If you're one to stretch when you get sciatica, I want you not to make this same mistake. Each week I have patients tell me that they've been stretching their hamstrings every single day. They're working on their glutes. They're doing piriformis stretches, trying yoga, following YouTube videos and foam rolling to try and help their sciatic pain. The problem is though, a few hours later, and sometimes even only a few minutes later, these symptoms just come straight back. A typical story goes something like this. The hamstring feels tight, there's some pain in the leg, so you stretch it. Glute feels like it needs a release, so you stretch that too. Now afterwards things feel a little bit looser, sometimes it settles a little bit, but then you get back to your desk, you go for a drive, you stand up, bend to pick something up, or you go to bed and then suddenly those symptoms come back again. The burning, the tingling, it all comes back. The people I see with this are frustrated. They just want to know why something doesn't last. It seems like it should work so well. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions have is assuming that wherever they feel the pain, that must be where the problem is located. And it makes perfect sense. You know, when you think about it, if your hamstring feels tight, why wouldn't you stretch it? Or if your glute aches, why wouldn't you give it a bit of a foam roll? The challenge is that sciatica doesn't always behave like a simple muscle problem. Pain down the leg doesn't always mean the leg is the problem, and a tight feeling isn't always a tight muscle. Now, the sciatic nerve, when it's irritated, it can feel remarkably similar to muscle tightness. But no matter how much you stretch it, it never truly lets go. Now, others describe this like a deep, achy feeling that feels like it needs to be released. But those experiences are actually more clues as to where it's coming from rather than telling us where the problem is. And what you're often seeing is this temporary relief pattern that just keeps recycling. Now, the stretch may change how it feels short term. It may reduce some tension, may improve some movement, but if that pain keeps coming back afterwards, there's a good chance that that isn't actually changing the issue that's constantly irritating that nerve. And that's why I often explain to patients that stretching, while it's helpful, it may not resolve the reason that that nerve is irritated. If you've had a flare-up, what should you do and what should you not do? So if gentle stretching reduces symptoms, helps you move more comfortably, perfectly reasonable. The key word here, gentle. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see people becoming increasingly aggressive with is this stretching movement where they're really thinking, oh, if I just stretch it further and get more aggressive, it's going to give more relief. Unfortunately, it's not the case. Particularly if a stretch becomes inducive of those symptoms, it actually creates more of them. Just back off. Rather than pushing harder, it's actually time to stop. In this case, it's not about no pain, no gain. Pain will actually make it worse. Sometimes gentle movement like walking and changing positions can be helpful more than these deeper stretches. Now, one of the most useful questions you can ask yourself isn't necessarily if it helped, but how long did that stretch last for? Did the improvement last a couple of minutes or was it several hours? Did they come back straight away when you sat down or did you actually start to get some relief longer? Those answers tell us a lot because if stretching gives relief but sitting immediately brings it back, the stretch may not actually be changing the trigger. And that's a really valuable pattern to understand. So let's talk about what this does not automatically mean. If stretching doesn't fix your sciatica, it doesn't mean you're broken. It also doesn't mean you automatically need surgery, and it certainly doesn't mean that you should never stretch again. But what it means is that there is more to this story. So if stretching helps temporarily, but sitting brings the symptoms back or driving brings it back straight away, it suggests that the nerve needs something different. That stretching muscle tightness isn't going to be the solution. It may be sensitive to position, it may be sensitive to pressure, it may even be sensitive to repeated irritation with movements. But that's why I often remind patients that the symptom tells us where it goes, but the behavior tells us what sets it off. Now, at the end of the day, stretching can absolutely help you get through a flare-up. It can improve comfort, movement. In some situations, it's an important part of actually overall fixing this issue. But if your sciatica keeps coming back, we really need to answer the bigger question as to what's irritating that nerve that causes it to keep coming back in the first place. Now, that's exactly where a sciatica assessment is designed to help figure this out, find the answer. At Aligned Chiro, we assess factors such as posture, such as spinal movement, nerve function, how the brain controls the body, symptom behavior. We want to understand not only where you're feeling those symptoms, but why they're happening. We're clinically indicated. If we need more information, we can even order x-rays or an MRI to get a better, clearer picture. The goal here isn't simply to find another stretch. The goal is to understand what's irritating that nerve and determine the most appropriate next step. So if stretching your hamstring, your glute, your piriformis, it only gives you temporary relief, but your sciatica keeps coming back, don't keep guessing. If you want to learn more, this is your opportunity to join me for a webinar where we're going to dive deeper into why sciatica behaves this way, why symptoms often just keep coming back even if you're stretching and doing the exercises, and what other different approaches are there to help if you need that recovery. Now, if you'd like some answers sooner, you're more than welcome to book a sciatica assessment at Aligned Chiro. With that, we can assess your posture, your spine movement, your nerve function, your symptoms, so you can get a better understanding of what's irritating that nerve and what your next step should be. You don't have to spend the rest of your life chasing temporary relief. Let's go and find some answers.